Hi guys, welcome back to Summer Equals IPL. This is the SRH preview. They're my underdogs in this IPL season. I see them finishing in the top four. They look like they have a pretty solid squad that a lot of people have sort of written off. Is that the same with you guys? Vansh, have you taken a look at this SRH side and said, you know what, they're not good enough to make the top four?
Initially, actually, I thought they were not good enough. But right now, while analyzing the squad for the past couple of days, I've been seeing actually there are a few good buys. Actually, I think Abhishek
Yeah,
Sharma again
I
he
saw.
opens the yeah, so I like the form. I like how the middle order of Markram, Brook, and Klassen are with experience. They have a lot of experience playing T20 cricket all across the world. Based on if they're playing on a batting track or a bowling track, they would switch between Samad and Natarajan for me because I am starting Marco Jansen. He provides you that opening bowling and death bowling, and he provides you with that Rashid Khan type of power hitting in the end. So that's pretty important in T20 cricket, having that impact player. And Mayank Agarwal, I actually thought they would captain Mayank Agarwal, but it ended up being Markram, which I don't mind actually. I like Markram as a player. I don't know at number four how much his batting will be utilized, but let's see. I think this is a pretty good team. I don't see them finishing in the top four just because I find that the serial winners CSK, Mumbai, and RCB, though they just probably go take first, second, third spots, and the fourth team, I I'm going for LSG. But yeah, I think they're a good team. They'll provide a good fight to Lucknow. So let's see.
No, but if you're going to play Marco Jansen at as the second overseas, no, as the only overseas quick, that means you're missing out on a spinner. You're hoping that Abhishek Sharma and Aiden Markram come in and bowl a few overs. Do you think they'll be able to do that part?
Um, yeah, I mean that is a concern. In term, probably at Chepok or something like that, where it's turning, they would play someone like Adil Rashid. But I don't think Adil Rashid comes in. I think Akil Hosein because then he'll be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a like for like replacement for Marco Jansen because he provides you with with that batting ability to down the order, which they will require if Abhishek Sharma, who's probably a little inconsistent in terms of opening. If he doesn't fire, then they'll put Akil Hossein instead of Marco Jansen where it's turning because he provides you with that power hitting ability in the death overs of the innings.
Adi, let's talk about Abhishek Sharma. He was actually pretty decent last time out. He opened the batting for the Sunrisers, played pretty well. Rahul Tripathi is batting at three. He's had his breakout into the Indian side. He's been picked for a few games. So now they've got a bit of international experience there. Of course, Mayank Agarwal, who is always, a dangerous player to have in a T20 setup. How do you see that top order faring? An all Indian top order, which is probably the only all Indian top order compared to most franchises.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, I feel like even Mumbai has, but
Yeah,
SRH. I mean, you look at the three open. I mean, the top three order is going to be Tripathi, Abhishek Sharma, and Mayank Agarwal. I mean, as you said, last year they had Abhishek Sharma and Priyam Garg opening. I mean, you saw that Abhishek Sharma actually was playing well. Like, he took that opportunity of opening. After they lost Shikhar Dhawan and David Warner, it wasn't. I mean, he played well. He took that opening job pretty well, and then Garg used to get out a lot, and then we used to see him and Tripathi having a good partnership.
yeah.
Last year, I remember SRH went on a winning streak. They won like 5 games in a row, even, and by the end they lost like 3-4 games, which showed that they don't have that consistency. I mean, I feel like that's the same this year. They have pretty talented players. You look at Mayank Agarwal. We know he's been talented, but he's never showed that consistency over the years. And I feel like that's an
yeah.
issue with this team. Apart from Tripathi, in the top three, I don't think the other two are consistent enough. And they'll have to build a solid opening partnership, which will be tough, especially Mayank. Abhishek Sharma playing for the first time. I just have to see that consistency with them. I feel like Tripathi is a very reliable number three. Then I look at Markram. He's another player who's always been very reliable. He's become the captain of South Africa now. He's taken the responsibility. He's become very experienced, and he's the captain of the team. So he'll obviously have that experience with him. So let's see. I mean, now they invested a lot in Harry Brooks also. I just
Yeah.
don't think he's that great compared to what they've had. I mean, when you look at the market, maybe this is the better option, coming off a World Cup win. Let's see how they fare out. That's his first IPL too. He's not played in India a lot.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be his first time where he's tested in India in different conditions. Especially for an England player, it's going to be tough always. Because apart from England
yeah,
and England, I don't really see England players performing a lot in India. I feel like you see the Australians have become more, familiar with India. You've hardly seen any England batsmen apart from Butler and Stokes, coming and playing in India and taking on the IPL. Rules also come into IPL this year. I mean, apart from that, we've never seen any English player play there. So I just think it's going to be tough for him, coming and breaking through and having a good season. But let's see how he, fares to the condition.
dude. The thing here is, the thing that I really like about SRH is that they've got decent depth. If, say, for example, Harry Brook doesn't fire or Klassen doesn't fire, Glenn Phillips can come in. If Adil
Mm.
Rashid doesn't start the season that well, or Marco Janssen can't, then you've got Akil Hosein. If, say, Abhishek Sharma is not providing you enough with the ball, you have Mayank Dagar who will provide you with left arm orthodox. So I think all round they're a pretty sorted side in terms of depth. You've also got Karthik Tyagi in case one of the quicks don't fire, which is why I think over the course of a season, really see these guys doing well. There is no particular weakness in this side, apart from the fact that they probably do not have the all rounders if Akil Hossain doesn't start. Once do you see
Yeah.
like that all round depth being an issue for SRH?
Yeah, the all rounder section is actually pretty weak. I really like Sundar because again he's
Yeah,
great for the team I like, and Sundar he provides you that off spin and that power hitting ability in the end. But all the all rounders are not established all rounders in world cricket. I don't see Sundar, Marco Jansen. Both of them haven't really established their position in their team. I think Marco Jansen has had a spectacular year, but he's just coming into world cricket at like the higher stage right now for South Africa. He's not very experienced in India. He bowled really well last year for SRH, but he has to build on that. And
yeah,
Bhuvi, again, we know he's probably past his prime, so you don't know what you're expecting, what you're getting out of Bhuvi. He was first a death over specialist, then they converted him into someone who bowls more in the power play because his performance in the death overs were bad, and Natarajan and Umran Malik would bowl through the middle and ending overs of that innings. So they were reliant on Bhuvi. Now they don't know what they'd expect from him. So the problem is I don't know how you're dropping Bhuvi for Karthik Tyagi. Like if Bhuvi doesn't perform, then the management has like a huge call for
yeah,
dropping Bhuvi because the stature that the player that he is, you don't know how you can drop him for someone who is relatively new to the setup in IPL in terms of experience. So Bhuvi's form is a major concern for this team, and along with that, there's just one more player. I think Abdul Samad is really he's been in the setup, SRH setup for quite a while. I hope he gets a chance because he's one player that provides with that finishing uh, ability, and they've trusted him for the past 3 4 years. They've not let him go. They've not released him in the auction. They retained him, and now that you have Markram, Brook, and Klassen, I don't see where Samaj fits. But if they drop one, probably Klassen, and no, but then they don't have a keeper. So yeah, I don't. I want to see Samad, but I don't know where he fits in the start of the IPL. But once the games probably progress, they see based on performance, they could probably integrate him into the squad. But I'm actually excited for Abhishek Sharma. I hope he has a good IPL because he's always been there in the power play. He's scoring runs here and there for his state, even in Syed Mushtaq Ali. So this is a pretty decent team. Most of it actually depends on the form of the players. There are well-known players over here, but you don't know what to expect from these players. Bhuvi, you have no idea. Klassen, you have no idea. And Brook is the first time he's playing in India,
Yeah.
so you actually don't know how he plays on turning tracks. You don't know because we know that if it's if there's bounce, if it's swinging, then he can play because he's played all across England. But and he's actually scored pretty decently recently in the Test games. He's playing like the ODI cricket in Test games. He can strike the ball to different parts of the ground. But I just feel like in India, it's a completely different ball game. You don't know what to expect from him in terms of turning tracks. So let's see what happens with him.
Adi, is there bowling a possible concern just because of the fact that Bhuvneshwar Kumar Natarajan have not played that much international cricket of late? Natarajan obviously suffered a bad injury and he couldn't really capitalize on his introduction to the Indian side. Bhuvneshwar Kumar obviously has tapered off, like once mentioned, he's off his prime now. Um, yeah, do you see this bowling unit really performing for SRH? Or could it be a worry?
I mean, yeah, that's the main issue. I feel like because when you look at the
Hmm.
bowling lineup, I remember last year also these three guys were the main bowlers last year for especially they went with that Indian seamers with Bhuvi, Nattu, and Umar Malik. Even though Umar Malik showed we've seen how fast he is. The problem is they lack consistency. I feel like all these three are very inconsistent bowlers. Uh, Bhuvi's past his prime. I don't think he has a consistency. I don't think that he has a consistency in T20. Nattu had to go through that injury. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad, and then he also, especially last year, he didn't show that consistency. I feel like last year Marco Jansen was the best bowler. He's the one who used to get wickets, and I remember a lot. Like last year, I used to like just follow like SRH games. Means every game, especially by the end, they used to concede 200 runs. A lot of games where they used to ball first and they conceded 200 runs. I remember only one game against RCB, the first game they got us all out for like 68. But then the second game, I remember us we hit like 190 against them. So you saw that by the end, like these bowlers just couldn't carry. They used to concede a lot of runs. And the problem last year also is that they couldn't bat and chase those runs because I just feel like all over the team they don't have anyone who's consistent enough.
Yeah,
Like and
exactly.
especially this,
Yeah,
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 and even the game changes. For example, before they had that game changer and uh, I mean I forgot his name. What the hell?
They had
What was
David
the
Warner.
spinner, bro? Bro, oh my god, what was the
Rashid
spinner?
Khan. You're blanking on
Yeah,
Rashid
sorry.
Khan.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
bad.
My head, I was telling Adil Rashid. I don't know why, because we were talking about it.
Rashid.
Sorry, but yeah, Rashid Khan. And so, he used to always be the main bowler in those tough situations. He used to be able to get wickets. And I was surprised
Yeah.
when, they let him
Yeah,
go.
that was a poor,
And,
poor choice to let him go.
Especially for
and
Kane
How
yeah,
do
Williamson,
you
who
let
he
Rashid Khan go?
exactly.
Like, who lets
And the
Rashid
thing
Khan
is,
go?
dude, yeah. And like, they never even try to replace him with a proper bowler. Like, I thought at least they would try and get, a Bishnoi or Rahul Chahar or a Chahal, because those three were the main spinners in India that time. And Kuldeep Yadav, but they never tried and get another spinner. Especially in
Bishnoi
Hyderabad, it's
was
also a
never
pretty.
released. Yeah, Bishnoi
Huh?
was never released anyways from Punjab, so they never had the option
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
true,
him.
true, true, true,
Yeah,
true.
but
Yeah,
still, like, they never really tried to replace.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I don't
exactly.
think
I
Adil
mean,
Rashid is a replacement for Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan is just miles better.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing. You can never, bro. We saw yesterday how good he was, getting wickets with
Yeah,
Stokes and
exactly.
coming back and just hitting a six out of the first ball itself. Like, I just can't believe. Dude, that's the thing. When I look at SRH, like 3 years ago, they had David Warner, Shikhar Dhawan, Williamson, Rashid Khan, Bhuvi. I mean, you look at that team, they were stacked.
Yeah,
And they had Saha
Yeah, they had
too.
a good
And
core.
dude,
Yeah.
exactly. And suddenly it's like, I look at this team, it's like a total new team. I can't relate SRH to, the beginning of SRH where we used to see David Warner, Shikhar Dhawan opening always. They used to always be solid. Like looking at the team, especially last 2 years, they've been poor. They've come
Yeah.
eighth twice in a row. So I just look at this team, it's just like random 11 people together. It just feels like that.
yeah, because the middle order, you see Markram, Brook, and Klassen. and these three have relatively no experience in IPL. You see them, Markram not played a lot, Brook first IPL, Klassen in and out of RCB squad. For SRH, he played last year here and there. But that middle order is so inexperienced in IPL that it's such a huge concern for that team. And that's why I
True.
don't see them finishing in the top four.
I
Yeah.
just feel like, yeah, for me, it's just the depth in the side. I really like Phillips as a player, and if he comes into the SRH side, I see him doing well actually.
Dude, I feel
Pretty
like
solid
Phillips is
player.
going to start.
Yeah,
You are
probably. He
I
completely
could
mean,
start. He
he's
could.
going to
completely
start the first two games. We know that because South Africa are going to play Netherlands and he won't
Yeah,
be
yeah. So
available.
Klassen,
So
yeah,
Phillips
Klassen
is
is
going to
for
available.
start, and hopefully,
But
he
if he,
takes on the.
yeah, and he
But
keeps
actually,
also
look at
so.
that. Even the first two games, I don't think they're well equipped to play because they don't have the captain and Markram itself. No Janssen and no
Bhuvi's
Klassen.
captaining. Bhuvi's
Yeah,
captaining.
exactly. And we were talking about how Bhuvi shouldn't even, he
Yeah.
might even get dropped. He's been inconsistent. So
No.
this team is like the planning itself is
Mm,
like it's very
true.
like. When I look at this 11, I'm confused because the way we saw SRH, the solid team they had to now, it's just like
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
even
I
think
don't
it's a
know what I
side.
expect.
It can go either way
man,
with this side.
yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, any finishing remarks on SRH? Anything that you'd be looking forward to watching?
For
I
the
mean, the
three
only
players.
exciting thing for me is Umar Malik. Like, you know,
Yeah.
everyone wants him to be like our next 150 plus kilometers of our bowler. So, like, apart from him, I
Gain.
don't think yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anyone exciting from this team. Even for India as a prospect, I mean, you can say Tripathi, but he's very old now. I feel like his time is also past. He's never going to play for India, especially with Virat in the number three position. So you look at this
Yeah.
team, you don't really see at least like the next generation talent. You just don't have anything from them.
Mm,
So I feel like it's. I mean, bro, over the years, one team I always used to hate to watch is SRH. I feel like
SRH.
it's
Same.
gonna.
same.
Same.
It's like
So boring.
But
two
yeah,
like the games. Like generally, even when they used to play, it used to be very boring. I feel like it's gonna
yeah,
continue
Yeah.
this
yeah,
year,
yeah.
and yeah,
Bro, I don't know how
Yeah,
they let Rashid Khan go.
I
Like
don't know.
it's
It's same. I just don't understand that.
dude, exactly.
because
Even Williams, like I can't believe they let Williamson go.
I
Yeah, I
Like
think
they
mean,
literally
they
they
retained
literally
him
kicked out
only
David
because
Warner for Kane Williamson, and now they
yeah,
kicked
and
out
then they
Kane
let
Williamson also
no, but the
for
three
Markram maybe.
players that they retained. They didn't like they weren't going to retain Rashid Khan first. They were going to retain I think
Yeah, dude,
Williamson
that's
first.
because
That's what they
no,
did.
Rashid wanted to stay, but they didn't want to pay him
Yeah,
that
he wanted
18
to be the
crores, right?
first pick. He wanted the 15
Yeah, the
crore.
highest
I think
amount.
he
Yeah, 15.
deserves it, dude. Like, I think he did
Yeah,
deserve it. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
mean,
they
you
chose
look at
Kane
GT, they
Williamson,
paid him
right?
how much ever he wanted, and they won the IPL
Yeah,
itself.
but they chose Kane Williamson for that. But and after that,
Yeah,
next year you
because
see Kane Williamson's already
they let
out.
him also go. Yeah. So,
and Kane Williamson
Yeah,
went for like his base price. Like I don't think he
yeah,
went for that.
exactly.
So
One, 2 crore.
that's like very funny, huh?
Anyways,
Yeah,
let's see how this SRH side fares. It looks like a very interesting side. It can go either way. I'm with you guys. I've never enjoyed watching SRH over the years. Found it quite boring, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out what this side has and what brings to the IPL. That was the SRH preview. Thank you, guys.